Moving forward to our next standalone session of the day, titled How to Future-Proof Your Digital Marketing Spends.
Thank you. I'll dive straight into my session because I don't have any shoes that link with anything else, and nor do I have, so sorry, this is going to be a little flat session. All the intelligent things that Amit shared with us a few moments ago. What I will do is I will focus on how, and this is very relevant to every marketer today, how to future-proof your digital marketing spends. And why it's relevant is that if you haven't thought about it, I believe you will not be in business in a few years from now. If you look at the bigger picture of where the world is going, I think digital advertising is going to be $1 trillion business globally. It's already about $650 billion. It's going to be $1 trillion business in 2027, which is less than 4 years away. It's growing at 17%. And what's even more interesting, and this figure may vary according to what statistics you look at, almost anywhere between 14 to 25% of it is expected to be programmatic. So you're talking about $1 trillion of business, a quarter of which is going to be programmatic, basically means controlled by programs in that sense. So there's a rapid change happening. Now you might think that, okay, this is global, and incidentally, this is also the first year in the history that 65% of global advertising is going to be digital. So it's already digital is almost two thirds of the advertising market worldwide. Not that India is not keeping up with this trend. Obviously, our mix is different, but some interesting things that strike us is that 2023 will also be the first year where digital will perhaps become the largest medium in India, overtaking TV and of course print, which was there. Also, what is quite pertinent to note in all of this is that while globally we said digital business is growing at about 17%, the same is expected here in India as well. Now, advertising overall is not growing at 17%. As you know, it's in a good year, it's about 9 or 10%. So that only means that the share of digital will keep increasing. By 2030, it is expected that we will hit the global standards, if not earlier. And this could be much earlier as well for two reasons. One is 5G, which is coming in. The other bit is that it is anticipated that in the next 2 or 3 years, as much as 250 to 300 million new internet users are going to come into the Indian landscape. And where are they going to come from? This is not happening from Mumbai or Delhi or Calcutta or Chennai or Bangalore, because there the the penetration levels of internet are already very good. These next 250, 300 million people are going to come from tier 3, tier 4 towns as well as from rural areas. So there is a revolution, another revolution waiting to happen in the next 3 or 4 years by, let's say, 2027. So at the cusp of this, a marketer can ill afford to, not think of how they're going to future-proof their digital marketing spends, because there is a jungle that you're facing. And when you look at it, and there are several global surveys that have been done. What are the biggest problems that marketers face? The first one, and many marketers don't confess it, but it's a fact. 9 out of 10 marketers said that they are facing the complexity problem in digital. Now, I would like to find that one guy who said that he isn't facing it. Because if you look at digital, why is this happening? If you look at digital in India, let's say, a few years ago, if you wanted to do a digital campaign, it was all about taking Google and Facebook, the two walled gardens. Between them, that accounted for whatever, 80, 85, 90% of the market, and there was nothing else that you had to do. Now, fast forward a few years later, from those two walled gardens, you probably have 22 walled gardens today. You've got, somebody spoke about how Amazon was growing. You've got Amazon, you've got Twitter, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Flipkart, etc., etc. And in a few years from now, you'll have 2,222. Anybody who owns data today, I read somewhere that Uber is, because they have so much of data, is becoming a walled garden, a platform which they want to hold their data. Marriott Hotels is contemplating becoming a walled garden by itself. So we are heading into a world where there are going to be increasing number of walled gardens who will only want to share data about their walled garden and nothing else about it. And this is making a digital marketeer's life extremely complex. I think the other bit, particularly as we head into a cookieless era, is the addressability problem. Now, one of the things digital was supposed to solve, if I was Mercedes 20 years ago and I wanted to give an ad in Bombay to attract customers, I have only 10,000 customers, let's say, in the Bombay city, but I will give an ad in Times of India, maybe reaching 1 million people in the hope that my 10,000 will also see it. Now, digital was supposed to solve this problem. You were supposed to know who are you going to address. But now with the cookie deprecating and with all the other complexities that are coming around it, first-party data suddenly becomes hugely important, and all of a sudden, marketeers are no longer sure that is my ad even reaching who it's supposed to reach. So first of all, huge complexity. Secondly, I'm not even sure it's addressing who it's supposed to address. And third, and very important, is the whole transparency issue. Now, things have come to such a level of, such an unfortunate level, I would say, that, you know, the 4As in the US, I was the president of the Advertising Agencies Association of India, which is the 3 years of I. There is a 4As in the US. They, along with the client's body there, have appointed PwC and Kroll to check into this whole area of transparency in digital marketing. Now, Kroll is a forensic, it's kind of people you hire if you want to do a forensic study and put someone in jail on that. So that's the level of distrust or opacity that has been created. So a marketeer who's got limited budgets, even if you have a 100 crore budget or a 2,000 crore budget, it is still a limited budget. That marketeer is now in a very complex situation, is having an addressability issue and is worried about transparency. And all surveys, if you do of marketeers anywhere in the world, a little bit, the numbers may vary, it is showing that this is the single biggest problem that they face. And I think the biggest reason for this is that all the current solutions, everything that we have, are siloed and disconnected. The walled gardens are, you know, we are planning and buying media in a walled garden, which is, so if you're in the Google walled garden, they'll tell you everything about Google. If you're in the Facebook walled garden, they'll tell you everything about Facebook, but nothing else around it. But the consumer is not living like that. The consumer, you and I, we may be going on Google, going on Facebook, but we'll also go on Amazon, we'll go to Times of India, we'll go to Economist, we'll go to everything. So the consumer has gone completely across, but our whole media planning, buying, thinking, marketing is totally siloed. And I think that, to my mind, therein lies the disconnect. As a result of this, I think what's happening is that the entire advertising stack today, you know, whether it be your DSPs or your DMPs, etc., are not talking to your marketing stack. So your ad tech and martech is completely disconnected. So whether you have your CDPs or you have your marketing cloud, etc., there is no connect between that. How is that possible? How is that feasible? And even if there is a connect, it's a very tenuous kind of a connect. It's not feeding enough from each. And it's quite, and this is getting worse, particularly when you get into your campaign management, that's not connected to anything else. So you may have huge amounts of data. I mean, some of the big companies that the problem is today there is a surfeit of data because you're leaving a digital footprint on, as a consumer, on everything that you do. Everybody is talking big data. Nobody knows how to analyze it or use it, particularly from an advertising and marketing point of view. Now, the solution is obvious. It's staring you in your eyes that this is something that's going to be doing. And the consequence of this is that there is no real-timeness in availability of data. I'll give you one or two real-life examples. You know, when I was the Asia Pacific CEO one of the clients at my previous company, one of the clients, very large automobile manufacturer, asked a very simple question to us, to the agency. And he said that, look, I'm running a very important campaign for a product launch. A car launch is a big deal for an automobile maker. I'm in 17 of your 18 APAC markets. Can you tell me, I'm not sure whether this campaign is working very well or not. Can you tell me how much money have I spent in the last 2 weeks, let's say on, I'm just making this up now, for Facebook, Instagram and Google, and which of them are working and which of them are not, because I need to, take rectificatory action on this. Now, what will any agency person do? There's a very standard agency response we have. First is that whether the client asks a simple question or a complex question, the first thing is, sir, it is very difficult, but for you, we will do it. Nobody else can do it, but we will do it. And the second thing is, ho jayega, sir. Now, whether aapko pata hai wo hoga ya nahi hoga, we are trained, to say ki ho jayega, and then you come back and you figure out how. And that's exactly what I did. So, and I came back and I called up 17 of my country CEOs. I said, boss, बहुत important client hai, you got to fix this. Who then in turn, I'm sure, called 17 media heads, who called 170 poor people working down the line whose weekends must have got ruined, etc. And all that data was put together, compared, this, that, checked. And, the client had asked, can this happen in 2 or 3 days? Of course, I said, of course it can happen in 2 or 3 days. And very quickly we realized it's not possible. And then we said, no, sir, it's a little more complex. So maybe it'll take a little more time. And finally, after a week or 10 days or whatever, we were able to get that back to them. And you know what? By the time that campaign was over, or a bulk of its spends were over, and this is when we were most geared up, had the best systems in place. And the reason is because AdTech, MarkTech reporting is not talking. You need something that can put it together. And this has led to disasters in marketing. Everybody in this room, as I see the age around, even those who are much younger, I'm probably the oldest, but even those who are much younger than me, everybody in this room has grown up in an era, in a broadcast era. We as advertisers or marketeers or agencies crafted a message. We then researched it nicely, we then made something, and then we spoke to the consumer. That era is gone. No longer is brand communication in your hands. It's in the hands of the consumer, and therefore the need for real-timeness. Real life example, if those of you who were around maybe 10, 15 years ago in marketing will probably remember it. Sachin Tendulkar, when he had just retired, a little after he had retired, was transiting through Heathrow. Now, British Airways has been traditionally advertising in India for many, many years. It's a good sector, India, UK, and it's a very respected brand on that. Every year they probably, let's say in 10 years, they must have spent 200, 300, 400 crores in advertising. So, Sachin Tendulkar lands at Heathrow and tweets ki my bags haven't come and I'm going somewhere and, my kit is in that and the bags haven't come. And what happens after that? Of course, Sachin Tendulkar followers, so the tweet starts putting. One standard bot or some poor sort sitting somewhere responds that, please give us your name, profession, who are you, what do you do, etc. And Sachin retweeted that as well. There's almost like asking God, where do you stay, or who are you, what do you do, right? And he retweeted that. And within minutes or hours, I think there were something like 3-4 million hits, likes, retweets, whatever of it. And 20 years of work that British Airways must have done, spending hundreds, if not thousands of crores on advertising, just went down the tube. So I think the important lesson in this is, if you don't have enough real-time data to immediately respond, and if you don't have a view of what is happening very quickly, you're in trouble. There's no question of whether you're future-proofing or whatever, you won't even exist. And I think therein comes the thing that, therefore, how do I future-proof my digital spends, my marketing, my advertising? And the answer lies is that you've got to find a way to unify this. You cannot go into 2025 with your ad stack, your marketing stack, and your campaign management, etc., not talking to each other. And this is a problem every major company has. The bigger the company, the more the silos, the more the scale, the bigger the problem. Okay, nobody in the world can claim that they have sorted it out. Obviously, there have to be solutions onto this. And here's a bit of a plug that I do know that at Rebid, that's really what we're working to try and see. And Rajiv Dingra, who's in the room, the founder of this, who got this, acquired this software and has been working on it with his team of engineers. There are very few solutions like these happening in the world. I am aware there's one in Switzerland and there's possibly one in Korea. But really what you need to do is to link this up, and that is much easier than what it sounds. What you need is somewhat like a platform of platforms. So think of it like a make my trip for advertising, right? And what Rebid has managed to do, because of the availability of APIs, it covers roughly 90-95% of digital. It doesn't yet cover 100%. It's got more than 100 MarTech, in fact now several hundred MarTech and AdTech integrations in one platform. All I am saying is that if you want to future-proof your advertising, your marketing, just first do the simple thing. The complex, the other thing we at agencies do very well is we learn how to make the simple thing complex, because 2.5%, 15% जो हमें मिलना है, हमें वो justify करना पड़ता है, right? And brand managers also love that, because then when they go to their CMOs, they look more intelligent. I'm doing a complex job and so on and so forth. I think the world now needs to go the other. Can we just go back to the previous? I'll just show you a small film which will just give you a sense of what I'm doing. Just about a minute's clip, and then just talk about 2 or 3 real cases where I've seen this work and how this has happened. Can we go back?
76% of global CMOs believe that siloed marketing infrastructure is a major barrier to achieving their marketing goals. Silos are everywhere in marketing and advertising, leading to inefficient and ineffective campaigns. Introducing Rebid, a unified MadTech intelligence platform that reimagines advertising and marketing without silos. Rebid eliminates platform, data, reporting, optimization, and automation silos, providing you with a single, powerful stack for marketing intelligence across your organization. With Rebid's activation integrations, you can manage digital advertising without switching between multiple platforms. Our reporting integrations create a one-stop solution for all your reporting needs, and our customer data integrations build a unified customer journey, enriched in real time. With Rebid's optimization tools, you can find and fix inefficiencies and wastage with a single click. And our automation tools connect over 100 marketing and advertising integrations, allowing you to automate any personalized customer workflow. Say goodbye to silos and hello to a unified, simplified, and automated way of functioning. Book a demo with Rebid and experience true MadTech intelligence in action.
So basically what I'm suggesting is just forget all the complexities, all the lingo, all the jargon thrown at it. Just try to integrate everything and see it in one view, and you yourself will find the solutions. For example, and these are early days, as you can see, one of our clients, Travco, they've had 8.5 times increase. It's a large travel company. I think it's Egypt's largest travel company. They've had an 8.5 times increase in the ROAS just by introducing this. It's their data. They're doing what they're doing. The platform is only helping them get a single view and just help have a better look at it. ADDX, which is a large fintech company, Singapore-based Southeast Asia company, they were able to, through Rebid, activate all their campaigns from a single dashboard, including Adjust, which is a mobile-based thing. So because that's also now integrated into Rebid, and for their performance, they saw a 2x improvement. There's nothing anybody has done. It's just your own data seen by you on one place and activated one, and that in itself is eliminating this. One of our clients, Malabar, has a very unique situation. So it's not one client, it's almost like 200, 250 clients or whatever, because every retailer, and some of the retailers are really big guys, is like an account by itself, and each one of them has a Facebook account and a whatever Google account and so on. It is impossible for the CMO of Malabar to just even get a view of what is happening. Forget real time. The person cannot just get a view of what is happening for a long time. And just by, putting this, and this is very early sort of work in this thing, for the first time the CMO is able to see what their campaign is doing across various bits. So these are just, some snippets. You yourself can imagine what are the benefits of it. So when somebody asks me the question, what can I do to future-proof my marketing spends? My answer is very simple. It is that first make the complex simple, right? Don't try to make the simple complex. Just make something which is complex simple, and just unify your silos. Now, I know this is very hard to do. I know it's very easy to put it up on a PowerPoint slide, but I'm afraid if you're not able to achieve this, there is no other way that you're going to be able to future-proof your marketing and your advertising bit. So my advice, my single bit to everybody who's looking at future-proofing their marketing, digital marketing spends, break the silos, make it as simple as you possibly can, and before you know it, you yourself will start seeing the results that will amaze you. Thank you for listening to me.